Hey, my name is Sharon Blain and I'm going to take you through a really interesting updo. It's all about a braid that's going to support the style, and the great part about this one, there's actually no bobby pins in it. So let me take you through and I'll explain what we're going to do. So the first thing we're doing is placing a very fine scalp braid across the top. Now it's a position just behind the ear, and we go from ear to ear. Obviously the opposite side is going to be a little bit finer because of what we're doing, and also we want to band just on the end. So just be careful that you don't extend the braid. We want to take it nice and close to the actual hairline so it doesn't protrude through the hairstyle. So as I move forward, let me show you the preparation of that. So this is the actual finished set. So I've come through with a rather large barrel tong, and I've done horizontal sections throughout. Now you notice that it's quite straight at the front, but the setting is more to the back of the head. Prior to putting the tong section in, I did come through the hairline and I did what I call a directional blow dry. That means that I've taken this hair very flat and I've blow dried it right in to the braided area. So I come all the way around the hairline, like so, and I make sure that's super flat. So when I do this technique, I'm going to have a lovely, clean, polished hairline. So once I've done the blow drying, that's when I came through and I did the set at the back.
Okay.
I'll drop the clips out. Gently brush it through. Just be careful you don't dig into the braided area. So lightly over the braid and then direct all the hair back into your hands and really break it right up. So we don't want this to look super curly, but we definitely need that polish on the ends. So there's the curl. That looks great. All right, next part of the process is to actually direct the hair back and sit it nice and flat around the hairline. There's the braid. We want to take this hair flat, pull it really hard back, and follow your hand back to the braid, and just behind the braid, we now need to come through with a bar clip. So all this hair that's smooth is now coming to sit behind the braid itself. So make sure as you do that, that you're getting nice direction so the hair is coming back exactly where it needs to come back. It's a little hard to hold when it's very freshly blow dried, but it'll get there. I might just add a little tad of spray. I don't want too much. Jess, can you grab me a bit of oil? And I'm doing the same all the way through to the opposite side. So we're just trying to lock this back so I can hold it in the direction that it needs to go. I often reposition the clips just to make sure that they are, gee, they're really soft hair today, and just a little bit slippery. So I'll just hold that all back and we'll start on this side. So I'll start on my left-hand side, mainly because I'm left-handed, so it doesn't really matter which side you start on. And I've got a needle and thread ready to go. So you can see the needle. It's just a regular plastic needle. And this thread is quite a coarse, harsh thread. It's a linen thread, so it's a little on the rougher side. And it's a much better option to use than anything too slippery. So the first thing we're going to do now is come in underneath here and find the braid. So here's my braid here. So I'm just going to separate through and find the edge of my braid and take the needle from the front to the back, pull it right through and tie a little knot. So we're going to get right in underneath there and get that nice and secure. And tie 2 knots because we don't want it to pull out. Like that. So I'll come back and just hold this hair with my hand just to try and get the positioning better. But I come through my comb again, give it another final comb back. So really pull it back, run your hand along and just hold that little panel together into its position. Now what the trick is with this is to start at the hairline and scratch through. So it's about 1/2 inch. We come along, we scratch and separate all that hair till I hit the braid. And once I hit the braid, I open up and I come from the front, underneath the braid, and out the back end. So pull it all the way through. Now this now will start pulling up into the hair like that. Okay, so we do the next section. So we just come through again, about 1/2 inch, all the way through, hit the braid, open up, come through front to back. So you must always start at the hairline to make this work well. So pull it back and pull it tight. So you can see now we're starting to pull this nicely around the hairline. So I'm going to put some pressure on this to hold it into the head, and while my hand starts the sectioning all the way through. I'll come through again. So each section I do, I try to keep them as same sort of width as possible. So we come through and now we pull. We're always trying to make sure all these ends come through nice and clean. And what's so good about this technique, just to relax the thread so you can go back and just clean it up. Come through, open, and we continue across to the opposite side. So we do exactly the same thing all the way to the opposite side. So always coming from front to back. Pulling all the little bits down, so we don't want any of these little pieces to be a problem. It's pretty repetitious from here in, but constantly following the rules. So always keep the same rules. It's really a little challenging at times to make sure you get the same width of each section, but really work hard on that. So I do actually incorporate a lot of sewing in the work that I do. I find that stitching hair is really enjoyable, and it I think it's quite therapeutic when you're dressing hair, and it has some great purposes. Okay, let's show you how to tie off. So I've come to the very end, and that's the elastic band there. What I'm going to do is just come through now, and on top of the elastic, it's basically just taking a little loop. So I'll take it through. Now give this a pull to make sure you have got it nice and tight, because if you don't get this all tight on the head now, it's too late. So I come through and this is the loop of the actual, let me just sort this out here. So this is the loop. I take the needle through the loop and I go 1, 2, 3. Hold your finger on those, and this is called a fisherman's knot. And with a fisherman's knot, it actually knots really nice and tight onto the head. So it will actually slip right in and you can push it in nice and tight. So that's basically how that's done. So then it's just chopping it off here, and we're ready to go with the rest of the style. So just come through and just lift it around the hairline. It doesn't have to be too tight, this. You can lift it and, you know, sort of break it open if you want to. So it's purely your choice on how the hairline finishes up. Thanks, babe. So just cut that thread off. Chop it off, all right. And now the next thing, I'm just going to put a little bit of oil in here just to control it a little bit more. I like to work with oil versus hairspray, because hairspray to me is a fixative, and if I'm not finished creating the work, there's no point putting hairspray on it. Okay, so let's see what happens with the rest of the hairstyle. Now I'm going to brush this hair thoroughly through and brush it all into my hand. I'm going to lift my hand up, and the higher the elevation, the bigger the shape will be. So if I hold it low, it will be a lower shape, but if I pull it out at 90 degrees, it's going to be a stronger, bigger shape. So brush that all the way through to the ends. And what I like to do now is do a very gentle, what I call finger tease. So I like to use my fingers a lot. And when I don't want to see a start and a stop line, I actually use my hand like this. So this way I can just get this gentle sort of soft texture in there. Just pushing it all in. So it's going to be quite an editorial feel when we get this to look like that. So just comb any little bits that don't sit quite so nicely. And then take an elastic band, a large elastic band. So it's quite a reasonable size band. Holding that elevation off the head. Now, 3/4 of the way out, place the band. So if we place the band, like so, so really feed it on well. Yeah, one of the zip bags. And then I'm going to take a small one and curve it under. So I want to make a loop in this hair. So we take it like that and we loop off. So that gives me a little loop to take my sewing through. So that's that ready to go now. So the next thing now is another thread. Find the middle of the nose, come back to the crown, and right here in the top, we now come through and we take a knot. So this is a double thread. We come through the middle and loop, like that. And go back again, and that once more through the middle, so it's secure and tight on the head. So that's nice and tight. Now going to drop it down, right through, so run the needle along the scalp. The needle is now dropped out the bottom. There it is there. I'm now going to come through and make sure all this tail is internally, so we want that all tucked inside. Now I'm going to thread this back up to the top again, like that. And now I'm going to elevate this right up, pull it up, and now we're going to come through here, and we're going to knot it off again. So we take front to back, pull to the height that you want it, get it nicely up there. So just look at that, sort of, it's lifting, so you can start getting that really beautiful soft elevation in the hairstyle. Now just remember, this hairstyle is perfectly done with crimping as well. So it's going to be a much more expanded, more avant-garde shape if you use crimping. So now come through, 1, 2, 3. So hold lots of tension in the hair. Pull it all the way through up and pull it right down on the head. Whoa, right down on the head, nice and tight. So once you've done that, then it's just a matter of just working through the hairstyle, lifting this up, just breaking it open, massaging this and just getting that really beautiful texture. So it's just giving you something really uniquely different. Pull a few little pieces out, just look at your profile, make sure you've got that sort of sitting up nicely. So gently lift and spray, just get that really beautiful soft texture. A few little short bits coming out, I think that looks really nice. So we'll use those. There you go.